Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload we'll be talking about the three winter storms that I've been talking about for the past several days, and one of those winter storms is right now occurring across the Midwest. There are winter storm warnings issued for portions of Minneapolis, and it pretty much over exceeded uh, what was forecasted for it. But I will go into the details of that and the rest of the storms in this video. But before we do, if you guys would like to support the channel, the best way you could do so is by subscribing to this channel. If you like what you're seeing, if you enjoy the content, feel free to do so. It's free, and I think, in my opinion, it's worth it, obviously. Alright, but if you are a returning viewer, liking the video would also help. So, regardless, let's get on with this without further ado. So again, I was talking about that winter storm that is occurring right now, and I want to show you the radar. Now you may be wondering what radar this is. This is a local Chicago radar. WGN, very good radar. I always like using it. It's very easy to use and gives us the coloration of rain versus snow. Some people were talking about or mentioned in the comments yesterday how this is, a fall storm and shouldn't really be a winter storm. I mean, that's fair enough because it's not winter, but usually I just like to call anything a winter storm that has a lot of snow with it. And look at this. This is mainly snow, a bit of rain to the south. And yes, rain will start developing to the south more and more. As you can see, we get some thunderstorms across Illinois and into Missouri, so that's definitely something to watch for. But look at that snow. Those snowfall rates are approaching 1 to 2 inches of snow per hour. So if this goes on even for the next 3 to 4 hours, they could get 6 to 7 inches of snow in that time. And some locations, if you were to look at the snowfall reports, have gotten almost, you know, 3-4 inches, and they're still coming in. These were as 242, so already in that, even that little amount of time, we could get amounts of snow that are an inch higher because of how fast this thing is falling. 252, you can see a little bit further out to the west, earlier onset of snow. They received it a bit earlier. 6.5 inches of snow, and then look here, western Minnesota, 8 inches, 8 inches, 6 inches. So I definitely think that there will be a few locations that could get into that double digit range, 9, 10, maybe 11 inches, maybe even a foot. And we've seen, the overperformance with these storms because of it's early in the year, so they have a lot of moisture to work with, even if they aren't the strongest. I mean, look at that. This was like a little band of snow that dropped 9 inches there. So let's take a glance at the National Weather Service. You could see that those snowfall rates are very, very heavy. And if I were to enable flash, we could take a look at these. I mean, look, there's some yellow colorings in there. That's almost some thunder snow like rates of snow. Definitely supportive of thunder snow, the convective abilities. And there actually, I saw a video on Twitter of a. Sorry, I'm going back. I'm trying to find the actual map of the. All right, you know what? I think. There we go. All right, so I saw a video on Twitter from South Dakota. There was actually a video of someone seeing thunder snow, like lightning flash and thunder. So you can see winter storm warnings are issued. They're expecting 3 to 7 more additional inches possibly. So, you get that 3 plus 3 plus 7. You could get, easily up to 10 inches across a few locations. Let's start talking about the next systems, as this is just one. You can see this thing moves into Wisconsin. With it overperforming in Minnesota, it's most likely to overperform at least slightly across portions of Wisconsin and Michigan. Though again, it may weaken and underperform across these locations while it overperforms across the Minnesota area. So that isn't really a good, gauge to go by. Overperforms here, it will overperform everywhere. There could be a lot of stuff that throws it off, right? But I mean, the latest model indications are still showing pretty heavy snow across Wisconsin. The biggest threat, if you will, for those high snowfall amounts is just the warm air. They'll start mixing in. Again, this is October 20th. It is pretty early. Des Moines, Iowa, the other day did get their second largest early snowfall of the season. So it was the second, largest, earliest snowfall of the season, if that makes any sense. A lot of words there to describe it, but notice this thing pushes off into Canada, doesn't really intensify, drops a bit of rain, though this looks a bit weak. There actually could be a few storms that, have small hail, maybe some stronger winds, nothing too severe. And notice that moves into southeastern Canada, but literally 36 to 40 hours after that storm, we see another wave of precipitation move into the northwest. It's actually already kind of sitting there, and it's really weak. And across where the mountains are the snow could fall heavy at times, but they're isolated. But as this low pressure moves closer out to the plains away from the mountains, it gains more energy. You can see some larger areas of snow occurring late Wednesday. So starting tomorrow morning into tomorrow afternoon across the west, we start seeing some precip move out into the plains, into the Midwest. We have a warm front right here. This low pressure continues to get organized. By late Wednesday morning or late Wednesday night, early wee morning hours of Thursday, we see very heavy snow potentially breaking out across portions of South Dakota, North Dakota, Montana, Wyoming, and again, the rain snow line is still yet to be determined exactly, but the models have been in relatively good agreement overall. So that's just one of the minor details. Notice we have a pretty strong warm front that has been consistently showing, so that will probably bring quite a bit of rain and storm activity. Notice this snow also breaks out quite heavily, intense, and may overperform as well. Not always do storms like these overperform in the early season, but oftentimes they do, like we saw today. And do notice that there is a pretty strong line of storms possibly developing late Friday. Um, late Thursday into early Friday, and the snow kind of dissipates off. We see mainly rain. Definitely, though, if you live across Canada into Quebec and into Labrador, Newfoundland, this storm moves on and does drop additional snow amounts there, but the cold front kind of peters out, really doesn't do much. As we move into the future, Friday and into early Saturday, we see another storm move on to the northwest, and you get the memo that, I mean, 3 storms in a matter of 100 hours, that's quite a bit. This storm moves on to the northwest much stronger. We see snow across Washington, northern portions of Oregon, Idaho, Montana, rain in the warmer, more less elevated areas, coastal areas. You can see this thing's pretty strong, dumping quite a bit of snow across Montana. Great Falls, I think, already saw 13 inches of snow this year, maybe a bit more, but definitely a snowy season as well. Comparable to last year, where, if you recall, we had that late September, early October snow system. It was like a blizzard. Notice the system moves on into the upper plains and out onto the plains, and the snowfall amounts, again, you could see it could be varying. The snow shield is pretty big, but over time it does weaken. However, again, this snow does fall heavy, so while it does move quickly, it could produce a lot of snow in that amount of time. And speaking of this system right here that we have, the only saving grace from like a complete dumping of snow is how quickly this is moving. It's not super quick, but it's really not that slow. It's, just constantly moving west to east. And if it were to, spin, kind of, with some blizzards do that, some storms were to spin around, come back, that would be a much heavier snow potential. Thankfully, it moves out quicker. It's nice to see 6 inches of snow. It's already a bit too much, but for the snow lovers, seeing 18 inches early season is just, at that point, the negatives weigh out any positives. Notice this storm does move quite a bit more rain. It has a bit more of a rainy side to it and actually interacts a bit with the tropics. We have one wave up here. One wave stays down to the southwest, according to the European. We see continued bouts of rain coming across the Ohio Valley, the Ozarks, and into portions of the Northeast. Where exactly this cold front lines up is a bit mysterious at this point. Notice this is now late weekend, early Monday, and this almost kind of separates themselves, these two systems. That earlier one moves out, then we see some mixing maybe going on across Texas and Kansas. Maybe not a snowstorm, but definitely potential for some early season freezing precip. And then the European almost dwindles the chances completely. It does have a little bit of precip left behind, and we'll have to see what it does with this, but there will be quite a bit of plenty of cold air. That doesn't really make sense. There will be quite a bit of cold air to work with, so there's a complete possibility that we may see some unusually higher snowfall amounts across the panhandles and the western plains. Maybe 2 to 3 inches. It doesn't seem significant, but again, we don't need a long duration event. We could get a quick burst of this heavy snow. That quick burst could lead to 3 to 4 inches in a matter of hours. Maybe even an hour, as some of the reports in Minnesota showed. So this could definitely dump a lot of snow in a short amount of time, which is why it's dangerous. Though I do want to mention, for my warm weather lovers, there is quite a good chance that after this cold pattern and this stormy pattern, we could be looking at a early start to November. So that would definitely be nice. It's still not really set in stone or anything of that sort, and the models, to be honest, have been jumping around quite a bit. If you recall, let's take a look at the European model in terms of anomalies. So you can see right now, warm across the south. That's mainly because these winter storms are dragging quite a bit of warm air to the north. But eventually, and you can see right there, right on the nose of that, we get some very, very stark anomalies. But I mean, that's also equally as chilly on the other side. The cold air does dominate a bit more into Sunday. It spreads a bit more across the Midwest. Though it's a constant battle, you can see the warm air fights back. Definitely seeing some ridiculously cold temperatures, at least for the time of the year. Negative 43 degrees below average. Not below Fahrenheit, but in terms of average. And then notice the cold air does spill over and kind of dominate, but it definitely weakens as it does so. And this European model run doesn't do much with this cold air. But if you just go back 12 hours ago, its prior model run, it was quite a different story. Everything was about the same, constant fight of the warm versus cold air, and the exact bouts where this kind of lays out is determined by the storm track. But you can see cold air, again, negative 40 to 50 degree anomalies. And as we push this forward with this model run, you can see it stick this cold air together in a much greater fashion, negative 40 degrees. And it moved it across much of the Midwest and even the South. And it's a complete different from the latest model run, which is just one model run apart, which isn't really that much. But let's take a look at, say, the GFS or the Canadian model in terms of the storm systems. I just want to take a quick glance at this. Notice we do have a large, again, that storm system that is occurring right now, large area of snow and precipitation occurring across Minnesota, Wisconsin, South Dakota, North Dakota. This is leaving behind pretty heavy amounts of snow. That pushes out into into Canada and around, early tomorrow. Very quickly, again, very quick moving snow, which is a main reason as to why the snowfall amounts aren't that heavy with this. And then this pushes into southeastern Canada, again, doesn't really intensify, so all the models are in pretty good agreement, the Canadian, the GFS, and the European on that first storm, and really the second storm as well. The only areas where they disagree is on where exactly that rain snow line sets up for cities like Duluth, Minneapolis. So Minneapolis mainly will be on the rainy side. And then you can see Sioux City on the rainy side, Sioux Falls as well. And then we push this forward. You can see quite a bit of rain develops, a cold front, and then we see some more snow across southern Canada. And this continues to push further to the north into southern Canada. So again, pretty good agreements with the Canadian and European model. And then you can see again at around almost the exact same time, the Canadian brings out a bit stronger of a storm than what the European shows across in the northwest. Heavy rain, heavy snow, moves into the mountains, Washington, Idaho, Montana, seeing more snow, more rain, quite a bit of cold air. So usually these locations wouldn't be seeing this much snow if it weren't for the cold air. It would just fall as rain. And then notice the Canadian does include quite a bit of snow, but it is a mix-up. We see a lot of rain, lots of snow, different waves. One wave over here. Then we have one wave that sticks down in the southwest. The cold air becomes more absent, and this storm system is kind of stuck, more of a rainstorm. But we'll have to see what they do. Each model is a bit different. In terms of total snowfall, you can see it definitely shows quite a bit across the Midwest, the Rockies, and into the Northwest. So that's definitely significant. Southwestern Canada also seeing quite a bit. Southern Canada, really mid-southern Canada, just north of Lake Superior, Thunder Bay, Sault Ste. Marie seeing some large amounts of snow, and into southern Canada, southeastern Canada, just north of the large metropolitan areas along Quebec. But let's take a glance now at the European snowfall amounts. I did show you already this model, but I just want to show you the total snowfall because I forgot to do that. And generally similar, the European shows a bit less across the southwest and the northwest, still higher than usual for this time of the year, though it definitely intensifies quite a large amount of snow. Again, across the Midwest, the plains, upper Midwest, and does mention a few bouts of maybe some accumulating snow across the southern plains where that cold air could be sufficient enough to provide 2 to 3 inches of snow. And then a bit further to the south, the snow lays out here, so affecting some of the larger cities. We'll have to see with that. And of course, larger amounts further out to the east and northeast. GFS model, this is the last model I want to show you. You can see this model does show quite a bit of snow even to the south. I don't think this will be the case. Usually the GFS shows this including sleet right there, you could see. So that's usually a bit thrown off. But definitely think that, if you live in the southern plains, panhandle of Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Colorado, Kansas, Nebraska, you have a good chance of seeing some inches of snow depending on where you live, and exactly how the cold air lays out is obviously going to vary. And then notice it includes a bit of snow across the Northeast, the GFS. But again, in a very, very long term, not much snow is added on to that because of the warm pattern that may be introduced afterwards. We have that same system moves off again, agreeing with the Canadian and the European. We have that second storm. You can see the GFS in this case is more further to the south than the Canadian, so it drops more snow across areas like Duluth and into central northern Minnesota. We do see a strengthening system, though again it's not any sort of a beast. It definitely significant. Central Ontario, northern Quebec seeing quite a bit of snow, rain to the south. And we have that again, that storm system moved to the northwest. The GFS keeps it about the same strength as a European, weaker than a Canadian. Canadian may be an outlier. Still though, lots of snow, rain, and snow across locations that typically see rain at this time of the year. And this moves into the Midwest in several waves. You can see right there's another wave. We have another storm system trying to lag behind, possibly delivering those heavy snow amounts we saw right there. Again, you could see that the absence of cold air may be pretty present in a long term. If you look at the anomalies, there's really not that much cold air, and it's mainly the warm temperatures that stick around. So definitely interesting to see what happens. But as of now, this is it for today's video, and I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.